This is Talking Bullish, the new Bradford Bulls fan podcast.
We're your hosts, Laura Micklefield
and Alan Raisin. This week we'll be talking about our win against Widnes.
We'll look back at this week's news and preview the match at Doncaster,
before ending with an exciting new game. This is Talking Bullish. Okay, welcome back everyone. This is episode 3, Talking Bullish. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you, and thanks again for everyone who's listened so far. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode.
Yeah, great. So we had a really good match at Odsal on a windy, sunny Sunday.
Yeah, I think I was trying to think of what to describe the match as, and I think I'd go with frustration to elation is how I felt generally about the match on Sunday.
Well, to kick it off, the squad news came out obviously an hour before, so Keys, Skur and Mason came in, and then we were slightly surprised Meadows was out, but it turns out that was due to a wrist injury, and Wayne and Lou also dropped.
I think the return of Skur and Mason was good. Definitely, as I talked on the last podcast, thought the introduction of Skur would make a difference, and I think it did. And Mason, I said, was unlucky to be dropped before, so really pleased that he was back. And again, I think made a good impact. I think it was that middle power that we needed that I was kind of alluding to last week. Meadows, I know he was kept out for injury reasons, but don't think it's necessarily a bad thing when you've got Lily and Keys in the halves as well, which I prefer. So this week played Lily and Keys, which we used to have before, like in 2017, I think they used to play together. And I just prefer that combination. It's like one of them is your kind of running half, and one of them is your like organising half.
I see. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so yeah, we started strongly with 2 quick tries.
Yeah, brilliant. I thought Bayliss made a quick impact straight through, taking I think about 3 or 4 defenders over the line with him, which was great. And then Keys, brilliant try from Keys. I think he really came back with an impact. Definitely a bit of individual brilliance there from him. And both kicks, John and Lily doing the kicks this week, so I don't know if that was a switch to think hopefully we can score a few more, but I think in fairness to Hooley, I just think it's some days you kick them, some days you don't. But it was good to see that we got both the kicks at the start. Started strong, as we tend to do, but then let Widnes back into it. I felt like we were his own worst enemy. I didn't think particularly Widnes were great. I'm not saying they were bad, but I don't think there was anything special that they were doing. I just think they were kind of working through the sets, and we were just making like silly choices and just let them back into it with, like we said, score off the back of a penalty for a ball steal. I'm not sure I can't remember if it was on the 5th tackle. It might have been, because I think I got quite frustrated. I
think that might have been later.
Then score off of another penalty for holding onto the leg. It was just, field position from sloppy play of the ball. It would just seem to be kind of one either error or penalty, or it's just like the indiscipline sometimes. It costs us. Yeah.
So having gone 12 up, then all of a sudden it was 12-12 again.
Yeah, we managed to get back ahead again with Fulton caught on a high tackle on the Widnes 20 metre and managed to score through Armitage. So it looked like, again, getting back into kind of a momentum swing our way. But then a poor kick gave Widnes a 7 tackle set. Then on top of that, a penalty, holding down too long again, and Widnes score from that to even it up.
Yeah, and even then it looked like we might go into the half level, but then something strange happened.
Yeah, so if anybody's listening and would like to comment on what the final penalty of the half was for, I would love to know. What I saw was a charge down from the Bulls, and then we regathered and the penalty was blown. I wasn't sure what it was for. I tried to look on the Bulls Twitter feed, the X feed, sorry, which said that they didn't know. So I went on the Widnes feed, which they said it was for offside, but I couldn't really. I just don't understand really, because I watched the replay and I still can't see that anyone was offside, unless I'm missing something. So I would love people's opinions on that.
Yeah, I was watching the full game replay just before this, actually, and I don't know if it was sort of zoomed in close in on the players. You didn't really see the line, but yeah, it was really hard to determine what if anything had gone wrong there. But obviously, the ref thought something had, and they kicked another 2 to make it 2018 at the half.
Yeah, so second half starting again, frustrating is how I'd describe it. Knock on again, giving Widnes field position. Luckily they threw a forward pass at the end of it, so nothing came of it, but then we had the opportunity to level up with a penalty. Opted for the kick and missed it, but again, like I say, you can't always hold that against Lily. It's one of those where sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. And so then we got a knock on after a forced dropout. So again, just frustrating. Lots of errors.
And I have to say, at this point in the game, I was thinking that we were going to have a very sort of depressing podcast to record, and we'd be asking all sorts about what went wrong. And yet, in the press conference afterwards, Noble seemed confident. He seemed to say that if we get to the right parts of the field, then we'll score points. But
yeah, I mean, I'm not a coach, so obviously I've not got the knowledge to know what he knows and the game plan and all the rest of it, but it seems to me that sometimes we look a bit lost when attacking the line. I felt like that with Widnes at times, and even in the second half, it wasn't necessarily us getting back into it through like good gameplay. It was kind of an individual brilliance try from Suter, which I thought was brilliant. I thought it was a great try. Does a little like kick into the in goal, regathers it before it gets there and stretches out to score. Brilliant. Would recommend a replay on the highlights if anybody gets a minute to watch that. And that was the momentum swing, I think. But even then, we still had a silly error again from the restart. But then Widnes knocked on again. So I'm not saying that it was all us. Obviously, Widnes were their own worst enemy at times as well. But then we did finish really strong. Super Sam Alice in for the score late on in the match. And then a late score with G. So, yeah, ups and downs, starting, like I say, frustrating, ending on a high. So I think you could tell, Alan, I was just so pleased that we'd broken the Widnes Hoodoo, because it just seems like forever since I've seen us beat Widnes. Just one of those teams that we really struggle to beat. So it's nice to come out on the other side of those games when it has been frustrating, there has been a bit of sloppy play, and get the win, which sometimes we don't usually do. Yeah.
So then it finished 36-20 to the Bulls. Well done. A 6th win in a row.
Yeah, sixth win in a row in the league. So that's good. Course. Obviously, we'll forget about the semi-final.
And your player of the match?
Personally, I think the man of the match was spot on. I think it was Suter. Also, he got Hitman as well, I noticed on X. So, yeah, I think he had a really strong performance. But to be fair, I do think Hallis had a really strong game as well. I think his forward running, I think Bayliss did. Like I said, I do like Lean Keys in the half. That halves the score from Keys particularly was great. But, yeah, I don't think anyone was particularly bad or particularly good. It was just errors, and I think the conclusion that I drew from it is that if we cleaned up the errors and stopped with the silly penalties, we would be really difficult to beat, because we're winning with those things in, but against the teams who will punish you for that, we won't get the wins.
True. Yeah, so we were discussing on the car on the way home, was it a good win or was it a sloppy win? Or, it was definitely an important win, so taking us to second in the table, level with Toulouse.
Yeah. think a win's a win at the end of the day, so it's good. It is good to have 6 wins on the bounce. It's not something that I think we've had in recent past. So I would say, yeah, definitely a good win. It's just there's just areas, and it's not necessarily anything major. It's just if the kind of sloppy play is cleared up and the indiscipline is cleared up, then yeah, I think we're cooking on gas for a good end to the season.
But after played 10 games in second place, it's a really strong position, though. Too early to predict the end of the season result, I guess.
Yeah, too early, but hopefully, like I say, if things can only get better with the things that we can improve on, then I think they've got a really good chance of being up there at the end of it, and it would be great to get something out of the season at the end, so we shall see.
One piece of news we missed from last week, which came out after we recorded, was Gil's 100th game. Yeah. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, I think he's been consistently good for us throughout the season. He's always one of those that I think flies under the radar sometimes when he's not scoring tries. I think people don't necessarily have much to say about him, but I always think he's a strong player. You can tell he wants to play for the side, and yeah, congratulations. Hope there's many more to come.
And then we move on to Doncaster away at the weekend. A game, unfortunately, I won't be at because, well, I'm not around, but are you planning to go?
No, it's one that I'm not going to be able to go to either. So it's going to be one of those where we'll have to have a look on the replay, I think, and on the highlights, and obviously we'll still be able to comment on things, but it's obviously better when you see it live.
Still worth listening next week, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Doncaster in a bit of a dodgy form. 3 wins, 3 losses in the last 6.
Yeah. I don't want to jinx things because I'm ever the pessimist, but I feel like this is one we should win. I don't like saying that because it's not something I'm usually saying, especially because anyone can beat anyone in the championship, and probably because I've said that we will lose, but hopefully not. If you look at the past matches that we've had in recent times, we do come out winners, and I would hope that we follow that path this week as well.
Yeah, so we don't know anything about the squad at the moment, but you said Meadows' injury was a minor thing, so do you hope he'll be back?
Yeah, there's a chance that Meadows could be back. I say personally, I would prefer Lily and Keys in the halves still, but yeah, again, it'd be nice to know comments of anyone that's listening and see what they think and if they prefer a different combination. But I do like that because I like having Suter at hooker and Hallis being replacement for Suter if needed rather than Lily at hooker. I do just think Lily plays a better game in the halves, so I know he is like a versatile player who will play anywhere, but I think he's better in the halves. Yeah, so one thing we wanted to mention on the podcast, one of the listeners is the founder of the Bulls Squad Booster.
So tell me, what is the Squad Booster? It's not something I've heard of in other sports.
Well, it's basically an independent supporters association that's been created by the fans to try and raise extra funds for signings. I know that when we do make a few signings on social media, there's a lot of them that goes out thanks to Squad Builder, and that without the income from the Squad Booster, it will mean that some of the players, we maybe wouldn't be able to offer them contracts. So yeah, it's a really good thing to think about, and I know that if there's plenty of information out there on social media, and I know that they're always keen to try and get new members, so yeah, it's something to think about.
Yeah, I guess sad that the game of rugby league, that it isn't as popular as, you know, the big sports, but by doing something like this we can help Bradford be the best team it can be. It's
one of those where I know there are a lot of passionate Bradford fans. A lot of Bradford's frustrations as a fan is that they want to be back to the kind of Super League glory days, but the only way we're going to be able to do that is with a large squad, like with, well, quality squad, and I suppose this is a way that you can kind of contribute towards that to try and make the squad the best it can be.
And now it's an exciting time of our podcast because we've got a new feature that's very exciting.
Yeah, so we've got a new feature, and seeing as Alan's relatively new to the game of rugby league and to the history of Bradford Bulls, we thought we'd end our episodes each week with a little quiz.
And we've called it Bull or Brian No Bull. Where Laura gives me 3 statements and I have to choose which ones are bull and which ones are honest as Brian Noble.
Starting this one off today then, so I've got 3 statements for you, Alan.
Hit me with them.
Right, so the first statement, the Bulls have won the Challenge Cup a total of 3 times. The second statement, the Bulls were renamed from Bradford Northern in 1995. The third statement, the Bulls were relegated from Super League in 2017.
Right. Well, actually, those choices are funny because I've been reading a bit about Bradford Bulls because I was thinking about giving you some questions as well. Now then, I think that they might have won the Challenge Cup more than 3 times.
Correct. We've won 5 times.
5 times, yeah.
So that is
bull. As for being renamed from Bradford Northern, I think that was 96.
Unfortunately, Alan, that is incorrect.
That's incorrect.
This is actually no bull.
Oh.
The Bulls were renamed from Bradford Northern in 1995,
No.
which means the one that you thought was true about the Bulls being relegated from Super League in 2017 was incorrect. We were relegated in 2014, but I did kind of test you a little bit there because they were actually relegated from the Championship to League One in 2017, so I can let you off with that one.
Okay, well,
but good effort.
I got one anyway. That's success for me. That's good. And next week I'll come back to you with 3 statements that you can decide which one is bull and which ones are no bull. Anyway, that brings us to the end of another episode. Thanks very much for listening.
Yeah, thank you once again to anyone who's had a listen. Feel free to give us a comment and let us know if there's anything you'd like us to talk about or discuss, or anything you'd like to hear.
And don't forget to tell all your friends and even maybe people you don't like about our podcast and get them to listen and subscribe.
Brilliant, yeah. And if you want to follow us on anything, we are on X, on Instagram, on Blue Sky, and we're hoping at some point to have a YouTube channel as well.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.